Welcome to Living the Dream with Tia. I'm your host, Tia Alexander. After more than 25 years in the entertainment business as a model and actress, I've noticed a change in the industry. Everything from digital replacing film to self-taped auditions, replacing in-person castings, and even this new role of AI. Not all of these changes have been easy, causing frustration and concern across Hollywood. So, what does this mean for our careers? And where are we headed? Joining me today to have this discussion is screenwriter and author Abdul Majid. Let's get into it. Hey Abdul.
Hey T, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I can't complain.
Thanks
So
for coming on today.
this topic is a weighty topic. There's a lot going on in the industry, some good, some bad, but I'm glad that you had me discussing this particular topic because I have my own frustrations about what's going on. So
I'm telling you, the frustration is beyond me. At this point, what that lady was saying, what's her name?
Erica Olson.
I'm so over the entertainment industry. I'm so over being an actor. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because ever since the pandemic, for the past 5 years, we've had to do self tapes. And self tapes have turned into the literal bane of my existence, a pain in the fucking ass. And I'm somebody, you guys know me, I am somebody who tries to practice gratitude daily. And this one little thing drives me up the wall. Why? Because we get an audition and we're told the quicker you get it in, the better, because they don't often watch your videos. So you got to get them in so fast. So you get this audition and you're immediately flooded with adrenaline and panic of shit, how am I going to learn this when it's 5 p.m. I'm at work right now and I got 48 hours to learn this, but I have a huge packed day tomorrow. And then the second wave of panic that floods your brain is who's going to read with me? I have exhausted every single friend that I have, every family member, every ex, every manager, every agent, anybody who is available for me. I have begged. I have asked. I've said, hey, are you free at any time tomorrow to just hop on a quick FaceTime with me and read with me this scene? Take like 30 minutes, maybe an hour tops. So I would so appreciate it. And let me tell you, I've got some really awesome friends who are usually super down, but people have lives. People have jobs. It's hard to find a reader. And it's this one thing. It's finding a reader that makes me every time I get an audition, I'm like, fuck, who is going to read with me? Who's going to read with me? Who am I going to have to beg? Like, maybe I'll start paying them. I don't know. And that's the other thing. I could pay an acting coach. I could pay an acting coach like anywhere from 150 to $250 for an hour to send in a tape that I never hear any feedback from. It's like, it's insanity. And before the pandemic, we used to go into rooms and meet these casting directors and also meet the assistants working for them and build relationships. And they'd be like giving us feedback in real time. We'd get to work in front of the camera. It felt really fulfilling to be an actor. Anyway, I'm at my wit's end with it, which is a bummer because like it's what I went to school for. It's what I spent my whole life wanting to do it so badly. And I'm just like so sick of it not it's turned into this thing that I don't really like doing. I don't think many people like, begging their friends, "Hey, are you free? Like, can we do this thing?" Only to send it in and not hear anything. It's like it's lost its community. And I'm just wondering if anybody else is at their wits end like me. Okay, bye.
Erica Olson. She was spot on. Every sentiment, every feeling, every moment of her thought, she just absolutely explained everything that is on my heart. I'm a person of gratitude. So I, of course, look at everything positive. And to have a moment to like have a crash out, I'm
and no,
over.
it's absolutely. I've been one of those people that she's talked about having the people your acting friends reach out to do the reads and be on the other side of the camera and to do the audition for 'em. And it just everything about it just seems awkward to me. It just doesn't seem. I've been in actual castings. I have friends who are casting directors. And I've sat in castings before, and it just seems more organic when there are people in the room. Like you can feel off energies and things of that nature. But now it's just you talking into a camera, and then you got to wait to decide to see if you're the chosen one, which is another seems like another headache in itself.
And they're asking us to be ourselves. I can't even explain how far from myself I feel because I'm now looking into a camera, but I'm worried about the instructions that are given on paper that I don't even know if I understand. So, coming from the actor side, am I even literate enough to understand what I'm reading? Because every slate is different, every action is different. And I think it's where now, before they even explain slate, they're actually telling us to say, well, don't use this kind of background. Don't use a drop back. Use a clean. And half of us have only a couple of walls to even use, which is why people are buying drop downs. And then
Yeah.
most of the drop downs are blue or black, or sorry, blue or gray. So for me, I'm deciding, okay, should I even go invest in one? Should I buy one? But some of the castings are like, please don't use it. And I don't even know what to invest in. More lighting, more action, like everything that they used to have set up in studio, all I had to do was go and be myself.
So for people who aren't in the business and they don't know what it's like from the beginning, what are you doing? Like you set up your lights, like how does it go for like step by step? Like how does it go so people can actually get an idea of like why this is so frustrating?
They're literally asking us to have natural lighting. Natural lighting means the sun from outside. So you have to have a window to aim in the direction that helps reflect your face without having studio camera lighting or a ring light. Then most of us don't have the time of day to do that because the lights change from one side of the building to the other. And then we're using maybe a ring light, but the ring light that might be too exposing or either not enough. Now you have to have more than one because you have to have one on the right or one on the left. And then for me, I only have one. I mean, I'm coming back from South Africa. I'm getting reestablished again. So I'm starting all over. But what they used to have in studio are big lights from one side of our face and then one on another side of our face. And then all the walls around us are white. So everything's bouncing off the white walls.
Yeah.
In our homes, my home in particular, I have all gray walls, one white ceiling, and one wall that is gray and white stripes. And I was using that to be a part of my audition because, okay, it falls into like the gray background thing and the white background. It's pretty clean. No, they said that's too distracting. And that's the one that's closest to my big window. So now I'm like, wait a minute. So not only is what I have not good enough, and I have different rooms, one other room is too colorful, but then they're like, well, we don't want any drop backs. My agent's like, go get a curtain and put a white curtain across the wall. One that looks tacky, especially if it's not ironed. And then it's not something that actually looks good when you're actually standing behind it. And then they say, great, great. Please be please use landscape from head to chest. Then pull back and so we can see your full body. Now you're seeing everything outside of that drop down or your
Backdrop.
background,
Yeah.
your backdrop, and you're seeing everything outside of it with the couch, with the clothes on the side, whatever it was, you have now been pulled back. And it doesn't make sense because why do I need to stay in landscape instead of turning it horizontal or sorry, turning it vertical? And now I'm trying to, get all the angles of what they're asking for, but they're being so specific, telling us, do not do this, do not do that. And when you're trying to just make it work, you have too many limitations.
What do you think is the point of it? Because I have an idea. I have conspiracies. I have very many conspiracies about why we're moving in this direction. But what do you think is like the purpose of it? Because it doesn't seem like it helps you get a better actor or get a better person for a commercial. Is it just a bottom line budget thing, you think?
I definitely think it's about a budget, but I think when giving the instructions, they're being too technical and not considering what personal lives we're living and how difficult this is. And by them, let's say, taking in consideration, putting competition more challenging, let's just say that's the case, along with them being in their budget saying, we don't care what you guys say about the budget, figure it out. I think that they're being really inconsiderate when it comes down to not having a certain protocol, and they're not asking us to have a specific slate that every casting director goes by. Instead, they want to add all these extra details. It's understandable to say, here's your actions. Please do these things differently in your action. But everything else should never be the case. Even when it comes down to a slate, they used to ask us questions on a Google Drop. So on the Google Drive, they used to say, "Okay, here, fill this out. Um, are you available these days? Do you have any tattoos? Um, do you have a visa or a valid U.S. passport? Do you have any conflicts in the last 5 years with these clients?" That would be on there. Now there, some of the castings are asking us to state that on camera, which makes us have to remember that because they don't want us to read anything. And personally, I just think besides saying it's that easy, just get your camera, have a room set up. You don't need to move it and get your lighting together and you're done. But then there's the add-ons that's making it more difficult that make it go, but you guys aren't making sure that it's easy enough for us when you guys are talking to these casting directors saying, this is what you guys need to be asking for. I think that they don't know what they want and they don't know how to do it, that they're not being given the rules to ask for with these, with their talent. And now when it comes down to saying, well, I didn't know they wanted this, or I didn't understand that about this in the instruction. Now it's, if you don't understand the instructions that they give you at home for your self-tape, then you're not going to be able to understand the instructions on set. And that is not correct.
So I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on for a second because I think it's purposeful sabotage. I think this has been designed for a while. I remember last year, was it the year before last? Might have been the year before last, where they had the strike, both the writer strike and the actor strike. And in both strikes, one of the main things that they were proponents, or the things that they were trying to go against, was AI, and how they wanted to use people's AI and be able to have their license for the AI and be able to use it again and again. I think this is purposeful sabotage on both the writer side, because AI is now being used on the writer side for screenplays and things like that, as well as the actor side, to say, see, we gave you the opportunity to try to do these things and it didn't work out. So we should move forward with AI. Like they're trying to implement it more. I honestly think it's sabotage. I think for a very long time, like if you can remember, like in 92, 92 was the start of when reality shows, Real World came out. I remember the first one, reality show, the New York, the Real World. That one was so profitable that they did so many others that it ushered in a wave of reality shows. And what it did was it allowed studios and people to see that you can have a minimal budget and get people to view into regular average person speaking, which ushered in this new wave of reality shows, within ushered in waves of more talk shows at the time, within ushered in the wave of podcasts, within ushered in. So all these new spaces, they're trying to get the most bang for their buck with minimal having to pay for it. And part of that is getting the actors out of it and ushering in this new AI thing for allowing them to be able to take over some of the things that the actors would do. And I personally think it's sabotage. I think they've been doing it for a while. They don't want us in the business, and they're slowly, especially people like us who's been around for a very long time, they're trying to usher us out. Like they're really trying to push us out, elbow us out in any way, shape, or form they can, but still use your likeness. Because I remember watching something like Raiders of the Lost Ark, the last one, and AI generated his whole face to make him look like he was 20 or 30 years younger or stuff like that. I like at some point they're just going to deep fake all of us and have any old person on screen and then usher put on the face of the actor that you like and have them to be the ones acting for you. So I don't know. That's my conspiracy theories take. I think it's by design.
That absolutely sounds correct. That's something that I would never have thought about, but sounds almost as crippling as they're trying to make us feel
Hmm.
because we're not made for some of the things that they're doing. And now they're going to be able to put AI to do it and say, well, we gave you a chance. Like that sounds like they're definitely trying to, they've already crippled us in so many areas, our mental health. The idea that they want us now in the industry to be a certain way, but like, are you capable of it? Are you not? I feel like I'm on a show, contestant show. You know what I mean? Like, can you make it? Can you not? Like, I just feel like I'm doing my best and I'm doing my part. And you know what? That's what all the commercials are going to end up being. AI, like you said, like that completely makes sense because if we can't meet their criteria, then they're going to sit here and tell us that we are not capable of the level of what we need. And a lot of people are starting to, yeah, give up. And you know what? They're probably taking some of those tapes and just,
Use it to train AI.
yeah, using it to train AI.
Hmm. And imagine this. Imagine they had an AI Tia, because we're such a global world now. Before that, imagine they could take a AI Tia and have you speaking in Spanish, have you speaking in French, or have you speaking to all these different markets, and not have to do voiceovers or dub overs or make it look. Because sometimes when someone tries to translate in Spanish to English, it just didn't even look right. The words don't even look like they're synced up with the person's mouth. So now they can just use an AI Tia and it look natural. It looks like you're actually speaking in Spanish or German or French or whatever else they want to put into and get it to all these other markets for people who don't speak that language. Like that's why I think that's why they love animation so much. That's why they've been pushing animation so much because you can do that to the cartoon. You can have, anime in German and French and what have you, and all you have to do is change the dialogue or change the language. So all to me is about a bottom line. It's also to me about control because now they can get you to say things that you normally wouldn't say and do things that you normally wouldn't do as an avatar, as opposed to as a human being who has autonomy and will say, I don't feel comfortable saying that, or please change that line because it does. Because like on the writer side, you'll get notes from executives telling you, hey, listen, I need you to add this in here or write this here because we need to sell it for a sponsor or whatever agenda they're trying to push forward. We need to say, a lot of times the military is funding some of these movies, some of these more like Top Gun, Maverick, and all those movies. They have a military budget that pays for some of that stuff. So you have to say positive things about the military within the dialogue. They purposely make you put it in there. And if you're a person outspoken about what's going on in the world, what's going on with all these wars and stuff, they'll say, I can't say that. In the future, then they're not even your permission. They're just going to type it in there, and then and then you're saying it. Your face, your likeness, someone else's words. That is scary business, man. That is scary business. And that's where we're headed. Because now they're banning books in schools. It's Shakespeare and all these other books, Taming the Shrew and, all these books are now can't use anymore. So they're editing all the stuff out.
Is
Yes,
that right?
yes, yes. They're
They're
they're re- Say that again.
taking books out of schools?
Yes. Hmm. Part of the DEI initiative is the fact that they're trying to take some of that stuff out of the schools. So they're actually banning books like The Bluest Eye or like The Color Purple or anything that says DEI or they put under the DEI category. They're taking them out of school. And I know this to be true. They're even changing books where when they talk about slavery, it refers to the slaves as helpers, not slaves. That's what's happening. This revisionist history of all the things that are happening. And because what I'm so passionate about this is because this is like what's going on in our industry is a microcosm of all the other spaces that they're trying to manipulate. Our industry is easier manipulated because one, there's really no like your story getting into the business is different than probably everyone else's story getting into the business. It's luck, it's by chance, some are by hookup, some are by family. Like no one's story. It's not like becoming a doctor where it's scripted. You have to do these particular things to get in. A lot of stuff is luck and chance and what have you. So because a lot of that is involved in it, you get the people you want in. Sometimes you can block the people that you don't want in. And it's all controlled. It's like a really controlled thing, but not a lot of rules and regulations. Like you can the Harvey Weinstein thing was a big example of how there were no rules. That people would just run a roughshod and do whatever they wanted to manipulate people to get roles. So now they're doing that with this. Now look what they're doing to teachers. Now look what they're doing to hospitals. Now look what they're doing to firefighters and police officers. It's like they're putting on this noose and constricting, and people are just, you know, allowing it to happen.
Wow. I didn't even think of that. And it's exactly right because there's always some manipulated reason that they create to distract us from the real reason that they're doing something. Like that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it, it's like I know that, most of the entertainment industry, the community is trying to encourage each other to stick in it. But they know a lot of us are dying away. A lot of us are like, I don't have time for this, and this isn't making me the money that I need. And, I really feel like it's disconnecting us from who we thought we were. You know what I mean? Entertainers. And then now what? What are all these actors gonna go? The ones who didn't make it very far. They still had dreams to meet, and they're not going to meet them. And now it's almost like the AI, and we've always said, like, how can they replace us? They need real actors. No, they don't. They don't need real actors for anything.
I think the whole COVID scare was a way of pushing us in a direction that they wanted us to go and to see how many of us would do what they said we could do. Stay inside, don't go outside, do this, do that. Like try to micro control us to see what we would do. But in the process of that, one thing I actually learned from you, and maybe you can really speak to this, is that I found a lot of people in the process of trying to figure out how I'm going to maneuver forward. They're more thinking, they've got more into their spiritual, they got more in their faith and their religion. And they were thinking about, it's not about adapting to systems, it's about finding their purpose. So all these skill sets that we gained in the process of doing these things, we're looking at ourselves like I'm an actor. No, you're a person with these skill sets that are transferable in other spaces. So find your purpose and use those skill sets to transfer into a different space. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely. It does. And I think for myself, intuitively, I felt shook by the control of the industry, the rat race we were in, the parts of us that was like driving us um, to feel like we're these mobile robots or, rat on the rat track,
Hamster wheel. Yeah.
hamster
Ham-
wheel.
yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of now where we've had to go so high on where we were on our levels to drop so low to where we had nothing. And a lot of people, as we know, fell into depression and were lost. And now that from what I heard from 2020 to 2023, I was overseas, so I wasn't on this side, but that's when everyone was cracking down. They were having breakdowns, they were having a problem. And then not long after that, 2024, I think they had the SAG strike. I think
Yep.
the
The actor
writer
strike and
strike.
the writer strike. Yep. Both. They had both.
And then at that time for myself, they had rebought one of the commercials I did, luckily, and it paid out well. But I do think those times are gone because you know what? They're not even doing SAG commercials really. They're doing mostly non-union. They're doing buyouts. They're making us feel less worth our value just by working as hard as we can for some just change, pocket change. And then if you're not investing in yourself as they want us to do with, production cameras and lights and all the things, or even subscriptions, because now if you're not buying a subscription online, going on Casting Network, which is where most of the castings are, and our agents use it, but we can also use it too for like smaller jobs. It used to be $10 a month. Now it's $29.99, $30 a month. And that's the only way you're able to even add one picture. So a lot of times, if we didn't want to pay the monthly subscription, we can say, I don't want to do a monthly, but can I just pay for one picture? Maybe that was $5. I don't know, $10. But just like an update, they were like, no, you need to buy a subscription in order to add a picture. And it just was, it's crazy because we're investing. And even for me, my agent's like, oh yeah, well, you're gonna have to go buy this and buy that. I said, until I get a job, I need a booking first, because at this point, you're asking for all of these things. I'm trying to hang in there. And then for me, my, agent's like, you are doing great. You're getting so many calls in. They're loving you. They want you to, submit all these self-tapes. And I'm like, I am upset that they have the audacity to hit me with 3 a day to say, send these self tapes in. They're due by 5. I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm like, it's taking most of my day, if not half my day. Then the um agent's like, well, no, that should not take you that long. 10 minutes max. Who are you talking to? Like, I don't even understand how you're asking me to do something that I'm learning a whole new skill. I'm learning how to be a producer. I'm learning how to be an editor. I'm learning how to be a lighting, setup. I'm learning how to do all these things. And then I have to somehow, bring my own prop in person or whatever. Last time I had to bring a dog, and they literally said, don't submit for this job if you cannot go borrow a dog. And I was like, wow, you're actually encouraging me to borrow a dog. Then they told us to tell us a story with you and the dog, even if you have to make it up. It was crazy. And I was sitting here going, what? So I'm holding my friend's dog, and she's like, I don't know if my dog's going to sit still. And like, we did everything to bribe this dog. So that took half my day because I'm trying to warm up and get all the things. But my point is, like, they're making it more difficult. They're making the challenge, like, they're building commercials in, with these self tapes. Have fun with it. Some of them are like, you don't even need a background. Have fun with it. You're gonna be outside on one guy who booked an audition, because they show him on some of these Instagram reels. He went to a whole gas station for audition that was for a car wash. So he did a gas station, act like he was at a car wash, did his own scene, set up his camera angles from inside the hood, inside the trunk, closed the trunk on the camera. He did everything that would be on a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm sitting here going, there's no way.
That's a lot. They're doing a lot. Yeah.
I could do it for my content creating that I would love to try to get more into, but I'm too busy self-taping, and I'm burnt out by the time this comes up. So I think for me, just realizing that there's so much work into it, and it takes the talent, it takes the fun out of our job. And I think that's what they're pushing towards, is for us to feel like our job is no longer fun.
I'm telling you, between the death of terrestrial television, was where more people get their watch commercials at,
Yeah.
and the influx of podcasts and streaming and all these other things where they're starting to do ad reads on camera and things of that nature. I honestly, in sports, right? I used to box, but I have friends who play like uh, um, football, and they said sometimes if they had a coach that didn't like you, or a coach that didn't want you on the team, they would do things to get you to try to push you out of the team, to make you quit. They tell you what you're doing was wrong every time you would do it. There was, even if you did it 100% exactly how to the T of what they wanted you to do, they'd say, no, it's wrong, do it again, to the point where you make you want to give up. And I really honestly think, I'm repeating myself, but I think that they're trying to push the veterans out. One, because we get paid more. Two, because we have a seniority that and a gravitas that allows us to push back against what they're asking us to do. A lot of these, can I tell you, I was watching the Oscars, and outside of Michael B. Jordan, I had no idea who half these people were, because they're all new actors, all new just performers, and I get it. I get it. I was the only one who knew, but I mean, not to say that they were better than the people who they pushed out or people who are not longer in the business, but I mean,
They
it,
ostracized all of those. So now people are blacklisted. Yeah, all the good people are out. And yeah, maybe it is for the newer generation to come in, not to even stay, but to kind of just like be easily tossed to the side. I don't
yeah,
even know,
it's
because they're not,
disposable. Yeah.
yeah, they're more disposable. They're not going to fight like some of our other, the ones that fought were the problem. You know what I mean?
Mhm. I think they're getting rid of superstars because if I'm thinking about it, I don't know. Most of these movies are either action movies that depend more on the actions or more on CGI stuff that they're getting rid of the superstars. So there's no real, like, I can't think of too many, like, under the age of 35 and down
Wow.
superstars. You can think Michael B. Jordan, but outside of him, they're not all the superstars, the Will Smiths, the Denzel, Barbara Streisands, how have you? They're all older. There are no big superstars. It's just franchises. It's Marvel movies. And then everything is now a TV show. They're getting rid of a lot of the movies, and now everything is a streaming TV series, which gets more run than the movies do because it seems like the movies now are in the theaters for what 2 weeks, then it's on a streaming service or platform. Like I'm exaggerating 2 weeks, more like 2 months or so, but I mean, then it's straight to the point now they're not even going to be in the theaters anymore. If theaters survive, they're going to be straight to the streaming services.
And
But
the
I,
big
I do, uh-huh.
There's actually no good movies in the movie theaters anymore.
No.
No one's excited about the movie theaters.
Mm-mm.
Everyone's fine with whatever comes onto Netflix, and then you're just kind of watching it just cause. But no one's excited about who's in the movie theater, who's there to go watch. There's really nothing.
The last movie I saw people have a ground grassroots enthusiasm about movies was Sinners. And that's because of Michael B. Jordan and Ron Coogler and the blackness of it and all the music well, that's pretty much it. All these other movies that they get nominated for Oscars, Frankenstein and dude about the ping pong guy and all. I didn't see none of them. And they were supposed to be these big, these guys are winning awards, and I had no idea. I was excited to see none of them, not a single one of them, outside of Sinners, of course. But
Now, what's it like in your side? Because as an editor, you have to still do meetings, do interviews,
so
do
on the writing side, it seems technology, the way technology has changed us on the writing side is on two fronts. On one front, it's writers' rooms are now digital. So everyone's doing it on Zoom. And honestly, Zoom writers' rooms aren't horrible, but they don't replace being in the room with other people and bouncing ideas off of one another and getting that energy and getting the reaction of the other person. If you say, "Oh, I like this line," "Oh, I like that line," "Oh, we should do this," or debating what should go where, like that camaraderie, it takes away a lot of that part of it.
same
On the
thing.
AI,
That's exactly what my issue is with castings. We go into a casting and we feel like we can connect with the cameraman. We feel like whatever they give us the instructions for, there might be a partner in there that they're partnering up with. We feel the partner and we bounce off and we express our talent and then we move on so we can check in and check out. Now you're telling us that this is go be more natural and it's not like it used to be. It didn't have to be perfect. And I was like, it wasn't perfect then. Oh,
mhm.
well, then you should know how to be natural then. This is not natural being at home. That's natural engaging with other people. Same thing you being in the writer's room. That's natural being able to bounce off of each other. You're supposed to just come up with stuff in your own on the Zoom and be like, did he hear me? Did he pay attention? Did he, yeah, whatever that is, it's like there's no way there's the same connection.
And I tell you, from a wordsmith side of things, and I won't go too far in this direction,
Mhm.
but the changing of words is something they're doing. Because the idea of telling someone to talk to a camera and it be natural, as opposed to talking to someone and looking them in the eye. or talking to a screen and say, "Oh, be natural," while you're talking to a computer screen, a digital platform, a something with cameras, wires, and what have you, monitors, and they're trying to say be natural, and then they're slowly. This is my tinfoil hat again. They're slowly changing words within our society to make it mean something else, to make it adapted to something else, to make it form something else, to take the humanness out of a lot of the stuff of what they want us, or who we naturally are as soul having beings,
Yeah.
people who are connected to something bigger than them. They're trying to distort words because words are first. I'll be honest with you, because in all religion they say God gave you the word. Like it talks about words in all the major religions about how important words are and how words can either help you or hurt you. It can make you or break you. It can define you or it can destroy you. So the fact that they're purposely going in to change words to have different meaning from just the fact that number one, you have to rewire your brain. And then you have to capitulate. And that's the other part of breaking the soul. You have to give in something you believe in or something that you understand as the truth to their way. So and it's like these slow microaggressions that they do. It's slowly chipping away at who you are as a human being with a soul, it seems like.
I get what you're saying because, like you said, this is not natural, but now they're defining it as this is natural. And there's nothing natural about it. So we should label that as something else. But now you're saying, no, it's natural. And I'm like, no, it's not. Now, so they're rewiring us. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
They're rewiring us, they're reprogramming us, they're doing all the things. And the ones underneath us, the younger ones who haven't lived in a world, and I'm aging myself, where there was no internet, where you outside and playing, where there was no all these things that are now just. I see kids today. Just I was on a train a couple weeks ago, and I was watching a kid. It had to be no older than a year and a half, with this iPad moving and doing all the things, changing the channels and whatever he was doing to make this thing play the way he wanted to. And I'm like, at 2, he knows how to function an iPad better than probably most of us. So, and then the generations before that, or they know these equipment. I saw a girl. I still, I still text looking at the phone because I don't know where the buttons are. I saw a girl talking to someone and texting at the same time with her thumb, and I was like, as impressive as that was, it's kind of scary.
True. That's very true. Yeah, I think at this point, with the new generation coming in, they're going to be so conditioned to this way of being that really they're not even going to catch what's happening in front of them, to be honest with you. We're seeing it as our generation has saw things evolve, and we're like, wait a minute, we know what natural is. For them, they're like, what do you mean this is not natural? What do you mean not having a phone? Not having a phone? You guys didn't have a phone? How did you function? What do you mean? That's weird. That's hard to even believe. Like, what else would you do? And I'm like, you were breathing. You just lived. You followed your intuition. You followed your gut. You followed your self understanding and street smart credibility. You understood how to be. Where these kids are so accustomed to now cars that drive them that they don't even want to learn how to drive because they're like, but I can get a Tesla that does not need me to be actually mobile driving. I can actually text while I'm driving when that was illegal.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And is that even still illegal anymore now that Tesla allows you to not drive the car? Because I don't ever see anyone getting pulled over for being on their phone anymore, to be honest with you.
I remember getting a ticket for that, $40 ticket, mind you. And now I don't even. You know what the other thing it does, and part of the manipulation. I know this wasn't the topic that we got on, but it's part of the manipulation is
Mhm.
that when you don't have enough human interaction, the human interaction you have becomes heightened. So a normal disagreement you and I have is now to these younger people
Absolutely right.
aggression or anxiety or
No
you know
emotional,
no emotional intelligence.
because it's artificial intelligence. There's no emotional intelligence. Everything is artificial intelligence. So, what does
Mhm.
emotional intelligence even mean? Which is why I found that to be so important going into what I do with what my passion and my purpose became. And I truly believe that was God redirecting me, because for
Mhm.
me to want to say the youth need to know what that even means. It was enough that growing up for myself, we barely knew what it meant. And then once we understood and it became more of a thing, of a condition that we were like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That now the kids don't even have any type of center idea of where to even get that from, because they're just like, well, what do you mean? Like, and then most of them, we're trying to cope with the fact that, oh, they're, they most of these kids had to deal with being in 2020. So, they have anxiety and they have all these illnesses and
Depression and
depression
putting on
and
pills. Yeah.
social anxiety. I don't even know, where did that start from? This social anxiety thing, even for some of the young adults who were born in the early 2000s. I'm like, they're like, oh, I have social anxiety. Well, why? What does that mean? Like, I don't even know. I don't feel like our generation had that much social anxiety. We were forced to be engaging. We were forced to, and that was the point of learning. You know what I mean? So now here we are being told to be behind a camera. You don't have to be in these. It's much easier. No, it's not easier.
Hmm.
It's dehumanizing.
Hmm. And the other factor is that the other two factors. At one point, they were giving these kids never had to prove themselves. They got appeased all the time with these participation awards. But now, when you go into Chat GPT and you put in a prompt or ask it a question, it reaffirms you from the door. Oh wow, that's an amazing question. And then it
Absolutely.
go and then it goes into the answer. I'm like, really? I'm like, these kids who already don't have the best, self-esteem are now being prompted and being encouraged by a machine like you're the most. Oh wow, and I'm talking. I don't care what you put. I wanna do something bad. I wanna block because
What
I
if
want
I
to say
want
that
to?
on the
Yeah.
yeah
I want to blow up the gas station.
yeah.
Well, I can actually understand that with the gas prices these days. And it's not wrong that you feel that way, but I don't think that's going to be the best idea. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't need you to let the person know, like, I can understand that. And that's,
Yeah.
something
With
that a
us,
lot of,
they'd be like, "That's crazy." Some your friends, people be like, you're bugging."
yeah, put them
But
back in
now
check.
it's reaffirming. It's all this reaffirming, and the other thing, there's a woman on Instagram. She's her name is Raquel. Her name is Raquel. She's a therapist. Anyway. Uh, it's Raquel, the capacity coach. But what she says is that your friends were the ones to put boundaries on your limits on how you behave amongst everyone else. You learned that from interacting as kids with other people. It's not your parents who help you test the limits. Your friends, your kids go like, "Oh, I don't want to play with you if you act like that." That you, as the person, reins it in. It's not your parents saying, "Don't act like that." It's the kids who you're looking for approval for. And nowadays, just with these computers and kids just talking, you cannot. I'm sorry, they talk to each other so crazy on these video games. They say the most racist things on these video games to one another, like it's nothing. SMD and it's that and the third. I'm like, you stuff you would not say to a person to their face.
My friend who has 7 kids, her 3-year-old said that somehow he got a hold of Roblox, and now out of all the kids, because she doesn't even use the word, nothing that's even close to a curse word. Out of all the kids, he's using HELL.
Mm.
What the HELL? A kid, and all these words that he's getting from Roblox, like everything that from a 3-year-old, and whatever he heard, now she's like, I have to unlearn him. Like, I have to unteach him these things. Oh my gosh. So please don't think I'm crazy if you hear my son do this, because I never am okay with this. But I was at work and now everyone let him see it and watch it. And now I have to. And I'm like, that is crazy that's now the new. And everyone's lost a sense of respect for adults, right? So there's no ma'am and sir and Mrs. So and so. There's all the eye contact. Like, for me, that's why I didn't let my son have a phone for so long. And right
So
now he still doesn't have his phone.
so I actually have a question surrounding something you said earlier. So for myself being in this space of having to relearn and unlearn things about this business and how I define myself and I went from wanting a career to wanting a purpose. How you said you were in South Africa, correct? You were out of the country. How did that like how did you come to that space? Like how did you get to the space where I guess a lot of us are trying to get to in terms of like more purpose driven as opposed to career driven?
I feel
And
like I got fed up with being fed up.
okay.
And my fed up started from seeing everything get really corrupted in politics and in the industry, and the rat race, and the rudeness, the way people were treating. So everyone's, I feel like, was becoming desensitized to things. And I think it started then when I saw this issue of emotional intelligence and people managing how they feel and how they treat each other. And I think for myself, learning, starting to pick up those same characteristics and seeing, I don't want to be like them. I see things I don't like in them that now I see in me because this is my community. This is my culture. Absolutely not. And then when I realized there were all these unhealed things, and is this really what I want to do? I am not making an impact in this world at all. And I think we all are craving to make an impact, be an influence, someone to like what we do, to inspire. And I think there was a sense of desensitizing that, because as much as we were trying to use social media to do it, it also became a platform for negativity and fear and anger, or even ways to just say things to each other that were so insulting that you're just like, why are you even saying that on my platform? And it's like, well, I can say whatever I want. You don't have to respond to anything. And it just, all these trolls. So my point to realizing there's got to be more to, you know, this thing we called life, making an impact, finding purpose. And I think the question is for everyone is, what is my purpose? Everyone always asks, right? And no one really explains what are purpose driven options. You know what I mean? What are those options that are there? And so I had to go inward spiritually. I realized how far it took me away from my nature, um the spiritual foundation that I had. I was no longer grounded. I was becoming as desensitized to everything and being frustrated. So once I escaped that, or at least the idea of it, and being a mother, I wanted more for my son. And I was like, my son needs to learn more than the American dream. My son needs to learn the world through a different lens so he can see culture and community and have world learning versus this is what our bubble is talking about. This is what our community is about. And there's no reason why this is all they should be about, because this is where we live. So I think for me, when God put that on my heart, because I'd like to say, yeah, I had this dream all my life. No, I had no idea. God put it on my heart one day after some travels. And then I was just like, absolutely not. I'm not going to stay here. God, just send me somewhere where I can be financially stable so I can make an impact. And I promise. And I think that's what it is, making a commitment to our creator, our higher power, the one we know is the one who controls and allows us to be who we are as we serve him. But no one is willing to do those things because they're scared and they don't know what that looks like. Well, serve what? Serve how? What do you mean? And it's like, that's the whole point of surrendering and being like, okay, God, help shift my heart posture and show me what that is. And I think that's a whole conversation in itself, because I would love to have that talk, because there's so much more to why I chose that route. But at the same time, I know it was spiritually driven. So when I looked for my purpose, it was me asking God, I just want to find my purpose. Whatever it is you want me to do, I want to find it. And I had no idea that it was always there. It had always been there. But I hadn't seen that because now I had the veil over my eyes because I was blinded by all the other stuff that I've been conditioned to think this is what my reality is, when it was not my reality. And now coming back to it, my spirit is like shook. It's like, yeah, y'all changing things. I'm gonna go back to where my purpose is.
Using using or finding your God-given skill set to be of service.
Yeah.
For the sake of God.
For sure. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this is such a great conversation, and I almost think that there should be more continued discussions about it. But I definitely want to take this and have maybe a part two, maybe even have some other discussions with other people. Maybe you could even be a part of that with us, because having an editor and having other people, other actors, other people in the room to have that discussion, because everyone has a different point of view. Everyone has a different experience. And you know what? I think it's really also important because AI is doing so many different things that a lot of us have a idea of what is coming. And a lot of us don't want to talk about it. A lot of us don't want to even mention it because we sound like, conspiracy theorists. But at the same time, I think that's what makes us the community. And I think we need to get together more deeper with the community so we can feel more natural, as they say, rather than artificial, and keep our mouths shut. So I would love to have this conversation again and to also continue about what my purpose has been, my purpose and my passion. So thank you so much, Abdul, for coming on and joining me today.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I hope I didn't take you too much off topic, but I think this was a great conversation to have. And for the sake of anyone listening to this, I'm not the person who believes that technology is all bad. I do believe it is good in the hands of the people who use it. It just seems to be that the people who are controlling it now have malevolent intentions. So,
And I can respect that. I can understand that. And I think anyone listening could understand that, because everybody got a little bit, everyone's confused. Everybody got a little idea of what could possibly be coming. And then we're just confused. We're just sitting in this ball of confusion. So thank you for bringing light to some of those things, because for me, it definitely gave me something to think about. I never thought that deep about it. And I think just in my own frustration, I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm ready to crash out. I think I'm crashing out every day. And I get anxiety now when I get an audition. When they send me an audition tape, I'm getting anxiety because I'm like, do I have enough sanity today to do this? What time is it for? What are they going to ask for? What time of day am I even ready? I can't just worry about me and my hair and my grooming. I have to worry about everything else. And then especially even when I have a kid and you're a parent, you got to worry about your kid being quiet. So I think it's also really good to have these conversations. So your views are very valid and so many other views are valid. So I look forward to this conversation. Thank you guys for listening to Living the Dream with Tia. Hope to see you guys next time. I'm out.